Hey there everyone, it's Kelly with kellyscards.ca and welcome to this fourth card in my everyday card kit number 14. So everybody seems to really love the vintagey kind of Paris themed or travel themed cards, so I've put together yet another one. And I really like the colors in this. We've got kind of the vintage tones as well as the more whitey tones of kind of like the old style photographs, and I really like how this card comes together. So to start out, I've got some vintage photo ink and I'm just going to go very lightly around the edge here, just not anything too heavy, just very, very lightly around the edge of this mat here. And this is just going to add a little bit of the brown tone to the edge and give it kind of a distressed look. So now when I put this down like this, I just find that it looks a little bit better now that it's all inked up. So now we're going to start putting the layers together and we're going to build upon this piece here. So to start out, we'll do the black one first. To start out, we will put the black one onto the craft, and then we'll build upon that and then add it all to the card once we are done. And for this one here, we just want to make sure that when we put it on, it's got a nice evenness around all sides. And that will just help it look better on the final card. So I've got that, and as you can see, there's that little edge of craft all the way around. Just for something different, we're going to layer these not straight on. We're going to have a little bit of an angle like this just to add some interest. And I'll bring my image in here. Maybe what we'll do is we'll put the image up onto the little black mat first, and then it'll just be easier to move around as a whole. That looks good, so I'm going to get this down really well with my bone folder. And we can just kind of play around with how we want it to lay. I really like this crisscross kind of look, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it down like it is, and I'm just going to put the adhesive on the back of both pieces. And then when I get it exactly where I want it, I can just put it down and it'll be a lot easier that way. So again, I'll bring them in and I'll try to get it to look like it did. And it's okay if this leans over to this side. It's just covering a little bit close to the craft color there, and that's okay. When we put this on, this will be able to come front and center and it will all look good. So now this piece I am going to put up on the card base with some score tape. Because it is more than one layer that's all together here, I'm going to just put it up with the score tape. It will just help it stay on together a little bit better. And I really love these vintage cards. Craft is an excellent color to cardstock to use with vintage cards. And we're going to open our card base here and we're going to get this put on. And as you can see with the black card base, just in the like the card before, this really helps pull out that craft color, having the black here and then the black card base. add some decoration to our image, you can bring in a piercing tool. You can either use the edge of your scissors or a piercing tool like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to create 3 holes to add some of these gold brads that you'll find in your kit. I have some tools that I like to use. I've shown this before, this Stampin' Up mat that has all of these piercing holes ready for you to basically just line it up and do it. But I also wanted to show something that I have a video upcoming on my other channel about, and this is this ruler by Recollections, and it's got all of these holes in it that you can basically do the same thing, but it's not from Stampin' Up. So you can check out this ruler, and I really like how the ruler just lines everything up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 3 holes here, and then I'm going to put the brads in. I'm going to bring in my ruler now, and I'm just using this foam piece to kind of protect my work surface, and I just have to decide where I want the gold bling. I kind of want it more in the darker section and not on the edge of the image. So I'm just going to have it down a little bit like there, and I'm going to punch 1, 2, and 3, and they'll be all nice and lined up because we're using the ruler. And as you can see, there's the holes, and now I'm just going to insert my brads into these spots. Again, if you don't have these tools, you can use some scissors, or if you have a puncture tool like this, those are a really good tool. I use it for many things, not just these piercing like what I was doing now, but even putting together sequins and to help with my die cutting. I'll just get the last one put in here, and I like adding gold accents to vintage cards. I like the accent, and I'll bring in usually some bling or whatever, but this time I thought I would do these brads. Now I've got that on there, and we can start getting this put together. So because I've got those brads on there, I'm going to really want to make sure that I use a lot of adhesive on this back of this foam and make sure it's really sticky, especially where those brads are, and that will also protect that they don't scratch the rest of the card. And I'm just putting it up on this little foam mat. Again, I've talked about this in other videos. You can go to Michael's and buy a piece of this craft foam. This is only half the size of it, and you basically will have a ton of this foam for dimension, and it's like only $1, $1.50 or so. So really good. It's a lot cheaper than the Pop Dots. And I really like how it covers the entire piece, where Pop Dots only cover little spots in between. So now I've got that all together, and I have to decide on my sentiments. So you've got quite a few choices. This Love You would fit nicely on this. If you inked up any of the white sentiments like this Happy Birthday, you could use this. You could also use the Hello. I made Dream Big just specifically for this card, as well as Journey. And this one has already been prepped for you, this Amor. So you can use that one as well. I think I really like the Journey one, and just to get rid of that whitey tone, I'm going to use some of this brown ink, and I'm just going to make it so it's not so white. I've also included this other black mat, and that's if you want to back one of the other sentiments. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm not going to use the Amor, I'm going to use the Journey, and I'm just going to use this extra little piece of black cardstock that you'll find in your kits to just help mat this up, and it just helps bring it apart from the rest of the card. And I'm just going to use my trimmer here, and I will get this matted up so that it looks good to go. And I've just got that on there, and I think that black just helps kind of pull it from the rest of the card. If you are using foam dots, you can put foam dots on the back as well, And if you're using this craft phone, I'll show you a little trick that you can do to help layer this up. So I want to have this on the side of the Paris Eiffel Tower image. And what I'm going to do right now is I've got the foam piece in the back, but I'm going to have it overhanging this piece. So I'm going to need a little bit of it out so that it will sit flat. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this little piece like this, and then when I get my sentiment in here, it'll lay nice and flat. I think this is a little bit big, so I'm just going to trim it down there now, and that will come in just like that. And I think that looks perfect. So I'm going to get the adhesive onto the back of the foam of this image, and I'm going to get this placed down. I'm going to make sure this is nice and straight on here. And then this little piece, I'm going to basically puzzle it in. I'm going to put it right up against there. And then I'm going to completely cover my sentiment now with adhesive and get that put on top. And that just helps with making sure that the sentiment isn't falling off and that it's got the support of the foam and it's all the same, basically height and layer. So now that that's on there, I really like how that looks. You can see the colors really work well together. I love this green. It kind of pulls this color from the image, and yet with the browns, it keeps it all in that kind of vintage tone. So now to finish off the inside, I'm going to put in another white insert. So that will finish off this card. Really love these vintage cards and love putting the papers on the diagonal like this, basically just not straight on, something a little bit more playful. Again, all these colors work really good together. You have so many choices on sentiments with this card. You can really give this card to basically anyone for any reason. So I hope you enjoyed this fourth card in my Everyday Card Kit number 14 series. There's one card left in this series. You can check me out on my website at kellyscards.ca. You can subscribe for more videos, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.